Well, it's early September, and I just want to give you a recruitment briefing on the market. It is a very, very difficult time, and we are starting to see a lot of people being released from companies. There is an enormous amount of corporate restructuring going on. A lot of it under the radar at the moment. It's not making the press every day, but we are seeing very significant companies release employees on quite large numbers into the market. And in places like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, the major capital cities, you really start to feel it because you start to see how many candidates are applying for roles in desperation, really, to try and get back into the market. So there's going to be a lot of very challenging months ahead. So, we're going to see more of this. I just read a news article that, 1 in 4 businesses in New South Wales are going to be releasing staff. These are the SME businesses. So that's kind of the canary in the coal mine. That is a very bad warning sign, and we're going to see the large corporates do it. And really disappointingly, some of these companies are, delivering billion-dollar profits and actually doing quite fundamentally well, and yet they're still releasing executives into the market. There's a lot of trimming the fat. There's a lot of corporate restructuring, and, there's just not a lot of empathy. They just release quite large numbers of people into the market. So we're going to see unemployment numbers actually increase, and I think particularly for mid to senior executives, there's a level of vulnerability because we have, high living costs at the moment, a lot of economic uncertainty. You have consumer uncertainty, you have business uncertainty. It's really not a great time to be out on the hustings trying to find new employment. It means if you do get made redundant, or if you do unfortunately find that you are being corporate restructured and released from the business, you must get professional help, and you must go to market really quickly with a very sophisticated job search strategy. Conversely, and this is the weird bit of the equation, my board search practice has never been busier. And in fact, I've been off social media for the last few weeks because I just haven't had time to do videos. We are flat out, and we will be flat out all the way through to the end of the year. And I was speaking to a senior executive, a CEO, a C-suite executive the other day, and I said, look, it'd be a lot easier for you to actually secure multiple board seats than it would be to secure a CEO role in your particular industry. So it's kind of interesting. The board market is very buoyant. A lot of retirement is happening in the ASX, so that's fueling a lot of high profile board seats that are coming up in the market. But just right across the whole remit, from not-for-profits, government boards, private company boards, early stage high potential companies, there are board seats available. And we've seen a real surge in advisory board appointments. So, if you're thinking about putting together a board portfolio, this would be an ideal time, because between now and the end of the year, you could quite easily, I think, secure 1 or 2 quality board seats, which would set you up for 2024, and you could go forward with that board portfolio, and you could really build it up onto really solid commercial terms. When markets sort of turn and employment markets become really tricky, like the scenario we're currently seeing, the interim market really picks up. So that's the executive contracting market. That's where you see a lot of companies pivot from full-time employees to contract employees, bringing people in for 6 months, maybe even 12 months onto specific projects, and fixed term projects, which can be very, very lucrative. And for executives who maybe are sort of used to traditional full-time employment, you've got to kind of recalibrate your thinking and look at different ways you could tap into that executive interim contractor market, because that is still quite solid. There's a lot of opportunities there for executives who are prepared to operate in that space. So overall, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Certainly between now and the end of the year, I'm expecting to see a lot of redundancies a surge in unemployment. We're going to see a lot more companies releasing executives into the market. And these are quality executives, through no fault of their own, they're finding themselves out in the market. And, I feel we have an obligation to really try hard to get these people recalibrated into the market, because as a society, you can't afford to have a lot of executives, sort of unemployed, because it just has a spiral effect in the market. Less people going out for coffees, less people, spending. It has a really big impact on your economy, and it can be very hard to pull it out of a tailspin. So really important that if you are in that scenario, you must get professional advice. Reach out to me, have a chat. I can give you some practical suggestions on how you can get back engaged in the market, and I'm happy to discuss some of our proactive job seeker services on that front. But for executives who are thinking about starting a board career, expanding their board portfolio, perfect time, very busy, flat out, lots of board opportunities right across the market. So there's a few silver linings, if you like, in the market at the moment, and we've got to look for those.